Good morning, Facebook family. How's everybody doing today? I'm going to give it a minute here. See who pops on. November 15th, 2020. Well, this live was planned at a little bit last minute. As I mentioned on last night's post, I was listening to some symphonic cyber metal, and I got inspired. I thought, yeah, let's do an Ask Caleb Anything live. So here we are, live and lit. Let me see here, do a refresh. Got you pulled up on my monitor here. I don't know about you guys, but this year just flew by for me. Absolutely flew by. I realize for some folks it probably didn't feel the same, went by maybe rather slow. Interesting times we're living in, just extraordinary. The conversations I've been having with people, the different perspectives, the different feedback, the different dynamics. But the common theme that people are sharing is that, you know, they want to rise above it. They want to get beyond the fear, get beyond the uncertainty, and just level up their life, you know? That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to help you guys do. Not just to encourage and to inspire and to motivate you, but to help you create internal transformation that's permanent. All permanent change, it's got to begin within. It's got to begin here in the heart. It's got to begin here in the mind. And it's got to be the kind of transformation that isn't based on the hype of the soul, the emotions, the mind, the will, and intellect, but the kind of transformation that sticks with you day in and day out, so that regardless of your circumstances or your situation in life, you've got the fortitude, you've got the resilience, you've got the strength to keep on rising higher. So welcome this morning. If you're tuning in, this is Ask Caleb Anything. Hey, Scott and Julie, how you guys doing today? Little bit last minute, you know, unplanned, spontaneous on this one, but I thought it would be fun. Let you in on a little secret here. I used to have an online radio program called Breaking Out of the Matrix. Yeah, talk about controversial. Just about anything went on that program, from politics, religion, economics, you know, behind the scenes, health, finance, whatever. So I had a blast doing that, and also did a online podcast briefly too with an associate that I connected with over on LinkedIn, and we had some great synergy going on that, and we had to kind of cut it short after a while. Things going on in life, family, you know, situations like that. But I love doing this. I love coming live. I love hanging out with you guys, and I am going to be launching my podcast again here real soon. So I thought this would be a great way to test the waters and, you know, get things flowing again, get that synergy flowing again. So, you know, Q&A is fun because we get a chance to get to know each other better. You get a chance to meet the metalpreneur and figure out what's going on in my head behind the scenes. I know we talk a lot about business and legacy. Of course, that's my heart, that's my passion, that's, you know, what I do in my business, but it's not necessarily who I am. Who I am is a much larger and bigger scope. So I'm passionate about many things in life, obviously about music as a musician and an artist, but I'm also passionate about the right kind of information and knowledge that empowers us. And I've been a student of international law for a number of years, aka the law of nations, natural law, God's law, if you will. And it has been incredibly eye-opening to learn what I have learned over the years. And it has changed my perspective on the world in an extraordinary way, on, you know, many aspects of life, of relationships, of human nature. And the interesting thing about human nature is it's often very predictable at times. And we tend to oftentimes conform to our atmospheres, to our surroundings, to our circumstances, and we tend to fall into peer pressure at times based on the overall scope and perspective of the populace and the masses. And so as adults, as much as we may not want to admit to that, right, we all joke about peer pressure as teenagers, right, and going through high school. It's real, but the reality is that until we really become set apart as individual, independent thinkers, and we self-determine in a way that we don't allow ourselves to be influenced by the thoughts and perspectives of the masses, until we come to that place, we're gonna succumb at times to the peer pressure that comes from that overall perspective of the masses. So it is independent thinking, self-awareness, if you will, is a practice art. It is a discipline, and it's something that we have to implement on our lives on a regular daily basis, right? And sometimes it means it requires a lot of due diligence. It requires us to research, to study, to differentiate what we're hearing, and those filters in which we filter information through. So we have to remember that the way that we're raised, right, our history, our background, our past, we can't change it. It helped to shape who we are, but we don't ever have to remain the same. Progressive change is something that should be a part of every human being's life. It should be a part of our DNA, that we are actively seeking to grow and to transform who we are as individuals, how we think, how we see other people, how we handle and deal with our relationships, how we respond to conflict and adversity and controversy. So I was talking about this with my team the other day, and by the way, we've got an incredible summit coming up next month, Path to the Powers Summit, in which we are partnering with probably it's 30 to 40 other speakers at this point. Some incredibly high-level speakers and some people that are just experts at what they're doing, and they're just getting going. But it's going to be a powerful time for empowering your mindset, your health, and your business as we move into 2021. So these people are all folks that I have met, connected with, and started working with just this year. And they share the same heart, the same mindset of positivity that I share. They are people who are in it to serve others, to legitimately serve other people like myself. They care about humanity. They care about humanity's future. And they're in it to serve. So, that's what we're all about here. And I'm so excited to be working with them. I'm so appreciative of them. They're all incredible and amazing in their own right. But yet together we formed this synergy that's allowing us to level things up. That's allowing us to change, to change our game together. And there's something so incredibly powerful about accountability. When you are willing to make yourself accountable to other people, so that when you're struggling, they can help you rise up. When you don't have expertise or knowledge or understanding in a certain area, they will have that. So I have just been amazed at how we complement each other in our perspective giftings, as well as in talents, as well as in our weaknesses, right? So that's just incredible, right? So, together as a team, we're filling the gaps. And where one week is weak, another might be strong. Where one is strong, another's weak. But together we are truly better. So I'd love it if you guys would shoot me some questions in the chat. I'm here to answer them. I'm here to talk to you. We're here to talk about real life stuff. And like I said, anything goes. And we'll start scheduling this more regularly, so it's not last minute. We can have more people tuning in at the right time to interact and engage. But I just love to make myself available to serve others. My background and history is a lifetime of serving other people. Many of you may have heard my story, But as a teenager at age 17, grew up a preacher's kid, grew up in a faith-based home, but experienced a lot of hypocrisy in religion and in religious circles. I saw a lot of abuse and things like that toward my parents, who legitimately were doing what they were doing to serve other people. So that tainted me. In a lot of ways, I became very bitter. And I found myself at the precipice of life and death, hanging onto life by a thread after a meth overdose. And it was truly a spiritual awakening for me in that hospital. And even growing up, let me preface that by saying, I always believed in a higher power. I always believed in a creator. I always believed that there was, something out there, above and beyond ourselves. And I feel like, especially in this day and age, that faith has to be a foundation in our lives, because without it, if we don't believe in someone or something greater than ourselves, and if we don't believe in ourselves, it makes it very, very difficult to continue to rise above the adversity and the challenges and the struggles. And the word I like to use is one of my favorite clothing lines as well: afflictions. We're going to suffer afflictions. We're going to go through a lot of crap. We're going to go through challenges and struggles in our life that are going to make us question ourselves. They're going to make us question, good morning, Christina. They're going to make us question our faith. They're going to make us question, what we want out of life, what we're looking for in, intimate relationships with other human beings. And the way that we respond to the way that we are treated by others often shapes how we're going to handle and respond to relationships in the future. So I often think of, my kiddos, and I realize at times that the way that, they watch my wife and I interact as married couples is shaping the way that they're going to look at relationships when they get older. Both with same sex as well as with the opposite sex. And I have 2 daughters, and I have a baby boy on the way next month. Ooh, it's getting close, friends. And so, girls are a challenge in their own right. And as a daddy, you have this protective mechanism in you, right, that just wants to shelter them at times from the nastiness of the world out there, from the cruelty of people. And, I know I'm a male saying this, but I've had many, many female associates, including my wife, say it. But at times they're convinced that females can be more cruel than males can be, as far as the way that females treat one another. So as a daddy, I want to shelter my daughters, but I also, have to let them experience, the certain different realities of the world, in that, life's tough. It's just not some easy pancake street, is it, Christina? It's not just a cakewalk. It's just not a walk in the park, And I love the phrase that I've heard oftentimes: there's no such thing as good days or bad days. There's only days of grace. Days when the grace of God allows you to enjoy what's happening, and days when the grace of God allows you to endure what's happening. So for me, I realized early on that I had to acquire endurance. That after I got slapped and beat down and abandoned and betrayed so many different times, that I had to come to a crossroads, right? That started with forgiveness, forgiving myself, forgiving the people that had hurt me. And, I say it many times, but forgiveness is really more about, loosing the other people than it is just about you. Yes, it's about you because it's going to hurt you in the long run, but you have to loosen, you have to let go of people with your heart, not just in your head, right? Forgiveness has got to happen in the heart. And so, ultimately, if you don't want to carry that garbage, because when you don't forgive other people, right? When we don't forgive, we give people power over us. And really, no other human being has the right to have power and control over you unless you give it to them, unless we give it to them, right? So, not forgiving empowers other people to have control over our lives that they don't deserve. So we got to loose, we got to forgive, we got to move on. So again, our responses and our reactions to how we are treated shape us, and they mold us into who we become as adults. So we need fortitude and resilience in this day and age in unprecedented measure. Just unprecedented measure. And if you guys got questions, drop them in the chat here. This is Q&A. I'm not just here to talk and share with you. I'm here to answer questions you might have. We can go any direction you want. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. You can ask me anything you want to ask me. Okay? Anything goes, right? Within reason, as long as it doesn't cause a fight or blow up. But we're not about all that, right? We're just here to help each other and to serve each other. So, you know, as we're moving into 21, I was talking about our upcoming Path to Power Summit coming up next month, and how we're going to be helping people to move into 21 with a stronger mindset and mentality to strengthen their businesses and to strengthen their overall health. Because if we don't have our health working properly, then we don't have a mindset that's strong, and that's going to affect every area of our life, from business to relationships. So Christina is asking here, what's your morning or set daily routines? Great question, Christina. Well, I am a huge advocate of biohacking and neurotropics. I remember when I first watched the movie Limitless with my Hollywood lookalike Bradley Cooper. I mean, I'm far more handsome than Bradley, but you know, he got his skills for me. No. But Limitless was it was intriguing for me because it talked about, right, this one neurotropic biohacking pill that unlocked the brain to operate at unprecedented capacities, like full operating capacity, right? So while I don't think that magical little pill exists, there are a lot of supplements that can be taken to unlock the potential inside of our brains. And of course, you know, we operate at such a minuscule percentage. Oftentimes I just go, why, God? Why did you give us this brain and only allow us to, you know, operate at a certain level or percentage? So that was an intriguing movie for me, Christina, and it started me on a path of researching, you know, biohacking, and obviously my health journey actually began, you know, shortly after my near-death experience and meth overdose. At the age of 19, I started implementing fasting into my life, and yes, I'm talking about the kind that means not eating for multiple days at a time. And so when I started, you know, doing that at 19 years old, it was a lot for spiritual reasons and spiritual growth as well as personal growth. But I didn't really understand the natural benefits that it would give to my body too. And so I remember on those earlier, I would say longer fasts, and by longer fasts I mean 5 to 7 days at a time. In those initial years, my body would get so cleansed and detoxed that what would happen was meth and similar amphetamine drugs tend to deposit themselves in the fatty cells and tissues of your body and stay there. So in those longer fasts and cleanses, I would be in it, and unexpectedly I would taste that drip in my throat. I would taste the meth, and I would have this temporal high again as that drug was leaving my system, as it was leaving my body. So fasting allowed me to get down to the root source of so many deposits in my body. And it's interesting, there was a medical doctor who put, yikes indeed, there was a medical doctor who put himself on it was 3 different, of course they were staggered, right, but they were 40-day consecutive fast and cleanse, liquid fast, right, within a 1-year period. He was in his 60s. Yeah, a lot of people have no idea, Christina. And he was in his 60s, and by the end of that 3rd fast, his white gray hair had gone back to its natural jet black color because the hair follicles had gotten so cleansed and so detoxed it took the dying cells out of his body. And so I could share, testimonial after testimonial on the power of fasting and cleansing and what it will do to heal your body from the inside out. Those deposits, those toxins that are rooted deep inside of us. And hey guys, we're living in an age, right, where we're taking in all kinds of poisonous, genetically modified foods and toxins. Now, I am not a legalistic eater. I am not a eat only organic. I am not a vegan who only eats fruits and vegetables. I splurge at times. At times I eat things I shouldn't, but I also know my body's going to pay the price. And I also know that I'm going to feel like crap probably when I do that. And so the more auto intoxication that you have going on in your body, the more difficult it can be at times to fast. And in people that I've coached and counseled along these lines over the years, they say, well, I can't miss a meal, Caleb, because I feel bad, I start to get a headache. And I'm like, well, actually that has nothing to do with not having food in your body. It has everything to do with the auto intoxication and the poisons that are trying to expel themselves as your body sets itself into a cleanse. And so fasting is not an easy discipline. I think at times it's gotten a bad rap by many people, and if you don't do it the right way, fasting can hurt you, especially the longer ones. Meaning, if you don't know how to go into a fast and prepare your body, and if you don't know how to break a fast, like I'll remember, here's a great story for you, Christina. My first ever 3-day fast at 19 years old, right? I was working with a nonprofit in Peoria, Illinois, and I was working with a college and career group, and we wanted to kind of do a corporate fast. Everybody team up to, empower our personal, spiritual, and health growth. And so we did this 3-day fast, and I was just, stubborn as I can be, right? So determined that I made it. I made it for all 72 hours without eating anything, and I was so proud of myself. Well, that fast ended in the evening of the 3rd day, and in order to celebrate, we all got together and met up at Steak and Shake in Peoria, Illinois. And man, was I ready to eat. I ordered myself a big old plate of spaghetti chili mac, right, which is their signature spaghetti dish with the sauce and the chili on top, and a salad, big old green salad, and a milkshake to top it off. And boy, when you reintroduce food into your body again after a cleanse, any kind of extended one, 3 days or more, the feeling is euphoric. You have an initial sense of euphoria, and you talk about cleansing your palate. Foods that were bland to you previously, when you go on a longer fast and cleanse. I'm talking about when I would drink broth, like maybe 5 or 6 days into a fast, it tasted like heaven. Your palate gets so cleansed that the simple foods start to reveal their taste and their flavor again. So back to Steak and Shake, right? I ate that food. For a few minutes, I began to feel euphoric. It was so good. I was high as a kite on introducing that food back into my system. And then I started to feel it. Nausea, gurgling, and yes, I was running to the toilet. So you don't want to come off an extended fast or cleanse and eat heavy amounts of foods, even greens themselves, because they tend to grab hold of the intestinal tracts and flush you out anyway. And so that was my initial learning experience on how to break a fast. Indeed. So coming off a fast the right way is so very important. So, fasting, cleansing, biohacking. When I get up in the morning, Christina, I have my signature drink that I will put together with a number of different ingredients, vitamins, nutrients, minerals, your apple cider vinegar. As far as the neurotropics go, obviously I like to stick to the natural side of things, right? There's pharmaceutical grade neurotropics that are supposed to, improve. But anytime we can stick to the natural, that's what I'm going for. So, I've experimented with a number of different kinds. Nuopept is one of them. I like Huperzine A because it is more natural, and so I will put these into my drink, sometimes in powder form, sometimes I take some pill capsules or whatever. But I believe supplementation is important in this day and age, right? Because our bodies are just they're deficient. We don't get the natural essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need out of food. So supplementing is important, right? My wife and I, like to take a good supplemental shake to up our protein intake, right? And a lot of vitamins and minerals and nutrients are included in those. We utilize the Shakeology shakes, and they've got a lot in there, So your greens, your red powders, especially important. I love to take chlorophyllin. And other things that just help to cleanse and detox my body, and some more controversial stuff too that aren't necessarily mainstream known. But anytime something has been accredited for bringing natural healing, and I'm talking about people that have had terminal illnesses and terminal cancers that have been completely healed by a combination of fasting and taking these natural supplements, which sadly the pharmaceutical industry frowns on. They don't like the mainstream public knowing about that because they're greedy. Let's just, we're here to talk real talk, right? They're greedy, and they would rather you poison your body, become unhealthy, and then become codependent on drugs, pills, pharmaceuticals, which any of us who have watched or seen a pharmaceutical commercial recently know that there is a whole list of horrendous side effects typically associated with those, including, may cause death, loss of hearing, blindness. You say I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, exactly, Christina, because they're not going to make money, right? They're not going to make money off you buying their pharmaceuticals. So, yes, I am a huge advocate and of homeopathic health, going the natural way, and fasting. So if you're just getting started with that, I would highly recommend intermittent fasting. And what that is those are your shorter stints of fasting. 1 day on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off. Typically I like the 40-hour. 40 to 50 hour fast is really good, and adding the right nutrients. Yes, I drink just water when I do that, but I add a combination of salts and potassiums, magnesium, the vitamins that my body basically needs to live off of. And so there's testimonials of people that have done long extended fasts on just these water fasts with these vitamins and nutrients in there. And so that's going to provide you with the electrolytes and the things that your body needs, because if you're doing a long fast just on water that doesn't have any of those nutrients in there, not only is it hard, not only is it going to kick you into a massive detox maybe too soon, but it's going to be hard to sustain your everyday life. But when I'm doing it, yeah, I go through my routine. I work out hard. I play tennis. Sometimes I'll play tennis a couple days into a fast. Gosh, I remember going out playing tennis when I was a week into a liquid fast. And I felt good, because once your body detoxes, once you flush out those toxins and you cleanse, you talk about euphoria, you talk about clarity, you talk about, overall health, wellness. Christina's asking, what about any routine for mental health or mindset? Yeah, that's a great question, Christina. And I'm gonna say it all ties in one and the same, right? That you have to empower yourself, spirit, soul, and body, right, to have that overall mental health. But obviously, I'm a huge advocate of reading, of studying, right, getting up in the morning, reading books. Mental health overall, what I found is that as I cleanse, as I detox, my mind gets clearer, it gets stronger, it gets more focused, And I find that, the creativity just begins to get unlocked in really unprecedented measure. And that's a powerful, powerful thing when you can have clarity of mind. And I mean, just getting rid of that brain fog that we deal with day in and day out is so very powerful. And so that just, it ups our mental capabilities to a whole other level, right? Because we're going to process our emotions better that way. We're going to process, our relationships that way, and then our business and daily endeavors and everything like that. When we have that clarity, when we're not dealing with brain fog, we're going to alleviate confusion. We're going to alleviate a lot of misunderstandings, and we just become better communicators in general. So, I'm a huge advocate of, obviously gratitude, day in and day out, expressing gratitude, speaking out the confessions that empower your life, right? Where you want to see yourself in the future, the person that you ultimately want to become. There's an old proverbial statement that says life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so not just what we speak over other people, but what we speak over ourselves, right? Literally shapes whether we are pouring life or death into ourselves. And so, speak life, my friends. Empower yourself, and especially when we're feeling, right, negative emotions, and we're struggling with situations or circumstances where it would be easy to speak out the negativity, but instead we speak life. We choose to speak positivity. We choose to speak love and empathy and forgiveness. So Joyce is asking, with so many priorities, family, health, business, how do you fit everything in? Wonderful question, Joyce. As some of my associates were asking me that the other day. It's a challenge at times. I made a post the other day that, I feel overwhelmed at times. That's reality. That's a part of life. But, I go back to free will choice. Ultimately, it's my choice on whether or not I am going to choose to show up each and every day for myself, for my family, for my business. And, sometimes that means taking a step back, because for me, right, family is absolutely priority, and they've got to come first. And when, things are getting neglected there, relationally or on any level with my wife or kiddos, it means I've got to take a step back, right, from my business, from social media, and put them first. But I just choose to show up each and every day and do the best that I can do, so that I can be the best that I can be, Joyce. And so again, even when I'm feeling the overwhelm, right, I just step back and try to evaluate, okay, what's the cause of the overwhelm? Am I stretching myself too thin? If I am, where am I stretching myself too thin? And where do I need to pull back on a little bit? And so, there's some people that just, they're good. They're going to live on social media day in and day out. And for me, over the years, as much as I understand its importance, right, for gaining traction, for building an audience, at the same time, I've just decided I can't live there. And I've had to unplug at times, family situations, things come up in life. And, I remember when I was only really active on LinkedIn, and I had to step away for like a month at a time. And it felt good, right? It was easy for me to get back in that groove and not go back on social media. But for me, the reason I am here, right? Obviously, there's aspects of, growing my business and getting my message out to the world. But ultimately, I'm here to serve other people because I legitimately care about other people. And I know that, people need that encouragement. They need that sense of community, because together we're truly better. So, fitting everything in is just, taking it with stride, showing up every single day, and doing the best that I can do. And so yeah, right now it's kind of a season where this past week I felt some of that overload, Joyce, and I was just like, man, there's a lot going on, there's a lot on the plate, and then throw everything else into the mix, right? Got to get a hot water heater replaced, got to get work done on vehicles, and that just that kind of had to stop and take priority in the midst of everything else going on. And so, that can be a challenge, but we got a baby on the way next month, and we got to have everything in place for that. So it will be interesting. Pray for me, my friends, to see how things go after the baby comes. And we're sleep deprived. I'm the kind of individual. I abused my body a lot in the early years with sleep deprivation, when I was doing drugs and methamphetamines. And so although I have pretty much healed my body totally and completely, I think at times I also realize that I don't function very well when I don't get a certain allotted amount of hours of sleep per night. And so, yeah, that goes for everybody. But, there's some people that just, they can run on 4 or 5 hours of sleep and, just get after it each and every day. Well, that's not me, right? I've got a different threshold. And so, yeah, they can do it, they can pull it off, but I don't feel that that's healthy long-term either. And we could go into a whole other conversation, right, on the power of a good night's sleep and what sleep does for your body. And I think we've all probably maybe struggled with, getting good sleep at times. And at times I think it's necessary. And I would say, I'm not an advocate of sleeping pills to get a good night's rest, but I think there are natural supplements, that people can take. Your melatonin, your tryptophan can be very helpful in producing what your body needs to help put you into a deeper state of sleep. Because if we're not hitting those REM stages in our sleep, then we're not really getting good rest. So curious, were you ever diagnosed with ADD or ADHD? Great question, Christina. No, I was not, thankfully. And I know, many people who were, and many people who have kids who were. And it's funny that you asked that, because I'm reminded of an online radio program that I did called The Killing Machine. And it was a controversial, in-depth, behind-the-scenes look at the pharmaceutical industry and the various diagnoses that they started creating over the years to make children particularly dependent on various pharmaceutical drugs. And so looking at the research and the history, a lot of what was diagnosed in these kids, and I am talking about certain kids that got on certain drugs and died. It killed them. Very, very, very sad. And so obviously when that happens to a parent, if they hadn't before, they're going to start digging. They're going to start doing some serious research, right, into their own child's symptoms, and as well as the drugs and the pharmaceuticals that their kids were taking. So it was an in-depth look at why that was happening. And basically a number of these parents, as well as medical researchers, found out that some of these diagnoses were not necessarily did not necessarily necessitate those kids going on a certain pharmaceutical, meaning that there was a more natural cure for them. So we won't go into too much detail on that. But do you feel focus has improved with the biohacks? Because I lost a lot of focus and memory after I had an injury and was diagnosed. Yeah, Christina, I do. And the challenge is with biohacking, and as you research this, you'll find out a lot that these various different supplements don't affect every individual in the same way. So, a lot of people will say, well, what's your stat, Caleb? What are you taking? And, I tried various different stacks, various different combinations that, other people had just said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I feel amazing, the clarity, and I didn't feel anything. And then other stacks that work better for me. So your chemical, physical, chemical, biologic makeup is going to be contingent upon how those supplements affect and impact you. So you just have to do some experimentation. That's what I did, and I'm talking about over many years. Find out what works best for you. And yes, your body will build up a tolerance if you're taking something regularly. But again, the great power about fasting is it just allows your body to have a total reset. It flushes, everything out of your system, and it gives your body basically a total metabolic reset. And so fasting particularly, impacts the hypothalamus, right, which is your fat burning gland, which has everything to do with metabolism and things like that. And so when you can reset that, I talk to a lot of people who struggle with thyroid issues and things like that. And obviously when your thyroid and your hypothalamus are not working properly, you're not going to be burning the fat that your body could, potentially or should potentially be burning. And so when you can do a reset like that, get things back in order, get things working properly, truly, your health will start to spring forth speedily. And so I'm a huge advocate. And like I said, I've got 23 years of experience with fasting, and it's transformative, and it's just healed my body in more ways than I can articulate, healed my mind, just gave me clarity and focus. And, I think there's an aspect of, it creates this level of gratitude and appreciation inside of you, right, for the little things. Like we have it so good here in the US of A, right? My wife is from Brazil. She's from a third world country, and any of you who have experienced the poverty and the lack in a third world country, can relate with this at times. We're just, as Americans, it's easy to be spoiled because we just, we can have it our way at our fingertips, fast food society anytime that we want. And so, going without food makes you appreciate, how much of a gift it is, and for people that don't have, and for children that are starving in other third world countries. So, I think it brings you down to a level where you become more, relatable with the people that don't have it. And it's just, I'm just a huge advocate overall. What number of days does it take to get to that level? Great question, Christina. It's going to be contingent upon the level of auto intoxication that's going on in your body. For some people, they may eat pretty healthy overall, and so the level of toxins that they're, dealing with could essentially be flushed out in a few days. And for other people, it's going to take a lot longer. But, obviously, if you don't have any experience with fasting, I don't recommend just going on a, 5 to 7 day fast. Like I said, you need to prepare your body, and the best way to do that is to go on the, on the shorter cleanses, and that can start with, just going for 24 hours or less, even, right? Just eat your meal, your dinner in the evening, 5 or 6 o'clock, and then go as long as you can, maybe till lunch the next day. And then, progressively stretch that duration out over time, because the more that you fast, the easier it gets to fast, and the more your body is not going to crave and, acquire the junk. It's just the more poison we got in there, the more chemicals, the more sugar we eat, the more we crave it, right? That's just a reality. So, I've seen people who thought fasting was impossible, and thought they could never do it, become experts at it by just, disciplining themselves over a period of time. And so it is, a lot up here, right? You've got to have some willpower initially you've got to have some discipline, but then it becomes like, second nature as that starts to kick in. Been doing that and do okay beyond that, start to struggle. How do you fight against the hunger feeling? Well, again, that's the mindset thing right there, Christina. A lot of times that feeling that we have is a false hunger. And so, the best way to do that is to, you start to feel that hunger pains, drink your power water, drink as much of your water with your potassium and your salts and your magnesium, and, you're gonna get rid of that hunger pain. But it's just willpower, right? You just have to tell yourself that my body is healing itself from the inside out. I'm choosing not to eat because I am healing my body. My body needs me to do this. My body wants me to do this. My body was created to go without food. Let's talk about nature. Oftentimes, the animal kingdom can seem like it's more intelligent than human beings. We know that's not the case, right? But for example, in the animal kingdom, by nature, when an animal gets hurt or injured, do you know what they do? By instinct, they stop eating. An animal's instinct knows that the best way to heal its body and to recover from injury is to not eat. And so this goes the same for injuries, old sports injuries, things like that were reoccurring for me, because I had a number of them. I've been a very athletic guy, weight training, tennis, things like that, basketball in my earlier years, but fasting started to heal those acute chronic symptoms that were reoccurring in my body. And so, as I say, fasting gets down to the root source of pain, injury, disease, chronic illness. Yeah, at a very, very high level. And that's what I mentioned earlier, right? Some of these people with terminal illnesses, right? They just, their body went to a state of cleanse. And of course, that's going to put your immune system through the roof, because we've all heard the saying, death begins in the colon. It's true. When your body is so weighed down, I mean, think about it. Your body is having to digest and process and assimilate foods 24/7. And that's no easy task. And when it's not given a rest, it just can't keep up. It can't keep up. And your kidneys and your liver, they can't expel those toxins fast enough. And so, those putrid, undigested foods sit in your colon for year after year after year. You ought to see some of the pictures. I mean, you can just Google it online, right? When they've opened up people's colons and, pulled out all those years of undigested toxic foods that, couldn't pass through the colon. I was trying to remember when they did an autopsy on John Wayne, the amount of undigested red meat that was inside of him was pretty horrific. So, and I'm a meat eater, don't get me wrong, right? But I also understand that it's much more difficult for our body to digest and to process the meats. So that's why fasting is so very important. So again, it's going to require willpower, but the more that you understand, every hour that you are fasting is an hour that your body is healing itself from the inside out. Yeah, it's disgusting to think about, right? That's going to be a lot of motivation for you. And you just remind yourself, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to think better. I'm going to have more clarity. I mean, some of the greatest creative ideas have come to me when I'm on a fast or when I'm on an extended fast, because, the great thing is you got trouble sleeping. You start doing some serious fasting and cleansing, boy, are you going to sleep good. Your body will sleep better at night, and you'll need less sleep naturally. The great thing is, on those extended fasts and cleanse, man, it's like, sometimes I would sleep 4 or 5 hours and wake up just like, whoa, invigorated, full of energy, like I had slept a full 8 hours and just full blast through the day, until late at night. So the benefits are tremendous. It's worth it. It's worth acquiring that discipline. And it's going to empower your life. And of course, looking at what's going on in our world here, a lot more individuals are becoming more health conscious, more health oriented. So Alan does intermittent fasting throughout the week. Right on, dude, fellow metalpreneur there. Yeah, I mean, it's life transformative. It's life changing in so many aspects and in so many levels. And so, again, when I started doing it 23 years ago, it wasn't really talked about or embraced in the mainstream health and fitness industry. Well, today it is. Yeah, Alan he says mostly for about 14 to 18 hours. That's great. Those are great fasts. But like I said, you really want to start to feel the changes. You're going to want to start focusing on those, 36 to 48, 50 hours. And then, and the great thing is when you come off of your fast, you can do a high protein meal. Take a lot of food intake, and usually you want to do that within an hour or two window. You want to limit that window and then go right back into your fast again, because your body's going to get everything it needs, all the nutrition it needs within that window period of time, and then you just go right back into it again, and you will shed weight and you will keep it off. I had let myself go for a season, without the fasting. For a while, more than I'd like to say. And so in the fall of last year, I kicked it in hardcore again. And, through October, through New Year's, I shed 30 pounds, and I've maintained that weight loss. And so Alan says, the reason I want to try a longer fast, I want to see if it will remove a fatty cyst on my shoulder. Yep. And it absolutely will. I talked about this earlier, Alan. I had cysts. I had reoccurring chronic injuries. I was cleansing out my lymph nodes and my fatty tissue from meth, and doing those longer fasts healed that stuff right up. So that pain disappeared. Chronic pain, reoccurring injury was gone. So it's worth it. If you're already at a good weight, would you still end up losing weight? Maybe a little bit, Joyce, but not necessarily, because your body is just it's just so good at self-regulating. And so again, it gets to the point where maybe a lot of people, they want to shed some extra weight, they want to shed some extra pounds initially, but ultimately it comes down to overall health and well-being. So even when you get down to that optimal weight, if you're just doing intermittent fasting, your body's going to self-regulate. You might lose a little bit more weight, but it's not going to be an unhealthy amount of weight. Your body's going to regulate. You're going to be exactly where you need to be. You're going to be a lean, mean warrior machine. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. And just do what feels good for you. Your body's going to tell you. We don't listen to our bodies like we should. Your body knows what it needs. Like recently, I was in this place where I was craving immense amounts of protein. I just couldn't seem to get enough protein. And a lot of times when we're going through taxing seasons of our life, or stressful season, or maybe high pressure situations, which I was, experiencing a little bit of all of the above, our body starts to crave high amounts of protein. And so I was just like, I went to Kroger, I went to the market, and I just bought this huge thing of chicken. It's like I just couldn't get enough. I was eating it throughout the day. So, it's important to listen to our bodies based on, the season of our life that we're going to. And sometimes when we're going through high pressure, stress situations, the best thing we can do is fast. Because it's going to allow our body's not working to process and digest foods. So, because why protein, Christina? Because essentially protein is the building block for muscle, and anytime you get depleted, especially even on a spiritual level and things like that, people have talked about they have to up their protein intake. So again, I'm a huge advocate of the powder protein, the good healthy natural proteins that you can mix in some water. make yourself a shake and, supplement when you're low on protein or whatever, but obviously, eating it in between too. Alan says, I'm barely overweight, but the little amount of weight does affect my sleep. We store fat in the tongue. Yeah, you got it, Alan. I mean, it does. I mean, we don't realize. I had never, carried too much excess weight until, this period last fall where I really kicked in the fasting again. And I saw it was affecting my health on every level. My blood pressure started to go up. I mean, all kinds of things. But just in general, right, the overall sense of just struggle. I was just done with the brain fog, and I realized that I was more injury prone. I wasn't moving like I could or should on the courts when I was at my optimal weight. And so, it's gonna do everything for you on every level. And we should do a corporate fast. What I like to do is, if it's something that you're struggling with, find somebody who can keep you accountable. If you don't feel like you have the discipline, to go it on your own, find somebody to do the fast with you. Find somebody who will keep you accountable. Maybe somebody you just need to call up. Oh, I'm having food cravings. I want to eat. And you can call them up on the phone. They'll be like, no, don't do this. We're healing our bodies. We're improving our health. We're improving our minds. Just somebody you can reach out to. A lot of times we don't realize we're dehydrated. Yeah, dehydration is a big issue too, Christina. And so, again, that's why I love drinking the power water, because you're going to get your electrolytes, you're going to get your salts, your potassiums, the things that your body needs. A lot of times basic water doesn't hydrate us in the way that it needs to. So, fasting with these ingredients is so crucially important to maintaining our electrolyte levels and staying hydrated. Alan consumes a lot of protein and veggies, add enough carbs to help with the workouts. Yep. You like to drink, so too many nights. Yeah, because if we drink a lot, right, that's going to dehydrate, and alcohol affects us at a very cellular level. And so when the cells get too much alcohol in them, they basically they're not getting enough oxygen. We're starving them out for oxygen, and so that creates dehydration, which often creates more of a dependency. So you want to bust the cravings for alcohol. Fasting is going to do that too. It's just it's going to kill the cravings for anything that essentially is going to poison your body. And drinking whatever. It's no problem if you can do it in moderation. Some people do, some people don't, right? But if you can fast regularly, you're going to help to oxygenate your cells at a higher level. So you're going to crave that less. Yeah, magnesium, potassium, and sodium. Exactly. Yep, that's what I got going on right here, Alan. So put it in there at the right levels, and you just drink it. Drink as much as you feel like your body needs while you're doing your fast. Dry fasting is also good. If you can do that in combination with the water fasting, that's really powerful. It's not easy, right? And you don't want to do that for too long. But by dry fasting, you don't eat or drink, right? That is, if you're really wanting to go after fat loss, that's a powerful way to do it. So you can do some spurts of the dry fasting in between your water fasting, and that's just gonna shed your weight and make you into a lean mean machine. Of course, some of your elite military ops training guys, they're actually trained that way. They're trained on dry fasting. Of course, they're trained on going without sleep too. I don't recommend that, but again, you get into a highly cleansed state after a period of multiple intermittent fasts or an extended fasting period. Your body's just not going to need the sleep it once required. And man, talk about energy levels, and when you're working in a collaborative effort, like I said, if you have somebody you can be accountable to, but you just got to have some discipline, right? Typically, right, my wife's pregnant right now. She's eating every day. She's got to, feed her body, feed the baby. And, there's days that I'm fasting and she's cooking up some meal that smells really stinking good, right? That's a choice, right? Sometimes, I would say it was easier to fast when I was a single guy, right? And I just, keep the food out of the house or whatever and don't do that. But I had to acquire discipline. You have to acquire willpower, right? So if you're you're at home, you're married with kids or whatever, and they're cooking and you're fasting, you're just gonna have to deal with it. I don't know, put some nose plugs in if that makes it easier for you. But again, the more you do it, the more you fast, the easier it gets, and the more that your body is going to assimilate and recognize that it's in that fasted state, and it's going to thank you for it. It's going to appreciate you, and you're not going to need the food. You're not going to need the things that you normally crave. Hey, Michelle, so true about drinking enough water. Yeah. It's just, we're all guilty at times. And again, I'm thinking of the 75 hard that some folks did recently, which requires like a gallon of water a day. But I had some people reach out to me because one lady in particular had, I think her mom had dealt with overdose of water. So a lot of people they struggle with water retention, which is often directly related to excess weight. And so if your body's in a state where it tends to retain water, then obviously drinking a gallon every day is not necessarily going to be for you. Lots of us in the medical field wearing masks are dehydrated. Yeah, Michelle, of course. Yeah, and so again, that's what I love, right, Alan? You take your water with your combination of your potassium, your salts, your sodium bicarbonate. Anybody know what that is? Sodium bicarbonate? Come on. Somebody pop it in the chat. What's sodium bicarbonate? That is the official term for baking soda. Yeah, baking soda is powerful. It's good for you. So yeah, I put my Himalayan pink salt in. I put my baking soda in. Put my magnesium in. Put my potassium in, and I am ready to rock and roll. And that's how I do my intermittent fasting. And so right combination of that. Like I said, you can drink it all day long, day and night, as much as you need to. But when you're, as I found, when you're drinking this and your body's getting the electrolytes, it's getting the salts, it's getting the potassium, the magnesium, it's not going to feel dehydrated. And you're not going to need to, drink a gallon of it. Typically for me, I'm drinking about, when I'm doing my fasting, maybe, 64, 70 ounces a day. And it's plenty. Sharing ratios. Yeah. So for 64 ounces, full teaspoon of the baking soda, half teaspoon of the pink Himalayan salts, full teaspoon of the potassium, and a half teaspoon of the magnesium. So that's per I would say, let's say 72 ounce. So 64 to 72 ounce, Christina, those are your ratios right there, and what you want to add to your waters. And so, for the baking soda, right, you want to get, I get Bob's, right? It's like the all natural. You want to find something that's all natural, right? Same thing with my potassiums, with my magnesium. I order that stuff in bulk, bulk supplements. Big old 2-pound bags, because I'm going to go through a lot of it. But, you can find this stuff online. I would say, your Himalayan pink salt, whatever, pretty easy to find that one. And then, put that stuff together and go to town, and, let me know, get back to me, because I love hearing the reports and testimonials, of people getting into the fasting groove and the benefits and, the struggles. And Christina, you asked about this earlier, but that, fasting will make you mentally strong. When you go without food, when you go without the things that, our bodies are so acclimated and accustomed to, it just gives you a strength and a resilience and a fortitude and a discipline. I've had many people and associates, including myself, I would attribute fasting to breaking my addictions, right? And of course, I never went back to meth again after I got off it as a teenager. Just never had no desire to. But fasting just empowers you. It will break the addictions in your life. It will break the struggles that are chronic and things that you continually struggle with that you feel like you can't get past. So wow, you guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for your questions. I hope that helps. I'm looking forward to hearing your fasting testimonials. We'll set this up, to do it more regularly, schedule a time or whatever, and we can dive into a lot of other topics. I'm excited to talk more about marriage and family and relationships, and we can talk about international law and my studies there. Yeah, Alan, discipline is one thing I'm thinking more of. I think we could all use more discipline, regardless of what phase we are, what area we're at in our life of growth. Many of us are deficient magnesium, but too much can make someone. Yeah, you can have too much magnesium can give you the runs, Michelle. Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's why that half teaspoon is limited to that. And there are different kinds of magnesiums that you can take that are more easily assimilated by the body, as well as the potassiums. Potassium citrate is what I tend to go with on the potassium level. So some do better with Ipsamol. Yeah, exactly. So do again, like with everything, like with the biohacking, Christina, Michelle, right? We got to do our own independent research. Google the different kinds and how it affects your body. Some people are going to enjoy the cleansing aspect, because your body will adjust, it will regulate, it will get used to it, and you might need some good flushing. I mean, sometimes a little, I know this is graphic, a little runny poop means that your body is, just flushing out some toxins and some crap, literally, right, that it just doesn't need. So, don't have to be afraid of that. Obviously, if you're planning on being out and about, that's a little different. So, get your body acclimated while you're at home. But again, just like the biohacking, everybody's body responds a little bit differently depending on the type of potassium or type of magnesium that you may be taking. So Alan says, let's see here, we're sneak and get all this stuff done. Well, slow enough for her to sneak in and get all this stuff. Oh, in my case, I just like to drink. Yeah, I do better sometimes than others. Yeah, no, Alan, I appreciate the honesty, straightforwardness, right? I mean, I think that's the case for a lot of people. So the great thing is, I think as we do the longer and extended, more extended fasts, our body just craves it less. So it may mean less, drinking for you now. Joyce, well, now you've got me researching intermittent fasting. Right on. You should do that. There's let me think here. The creators of the Bragg family, Paul and Patricia Bragg, who created your Bragg's organic cider vinegar, and these guys were considered some of the pioneers and forerunners of the health industry. They wrote a wonderful book called The Miracle of Fasting, and so you'll find a lot of recipes in there, a lot of personal stories of miracles and people that they've worked with healing. It's going to help you on ways that you can go on and come off a longer fast in there. And then, reach out to me, Joyce, if you have any questions or thoughts. So I consider myself a veteran now with 23 years of fasting experience. And so I've gone up to, 10 days just on water, just on liquid. So, I've always wanted to do more, but, again, the shorter intermittent bursts will get you to where the longer ones will eventually. But if you're wanting to get somewhere, faster as far as just overall optimal health, weight loss, cleansing, detoxing, those faster ones, those longer ones are going to get you there a little bit faster. So, but again, listen to your body. Just remember that when you start to go through the auto intoxication, your body's struggling to push out those toxins. that you just want to drink more water if you can. And if you feel really bad, I've been there, you feel really helpless or whatever, maybe drink a shake, or eat some melon. I mean, your melons are actually one of the best things that you can break a longer fast on, because you can allow those to basically melt in your mouth, and so the salivas and the enzymes will absorb that and assimilate that without it being too heavy on your digestive system, and start to slowly open you up again to food. So if you want to hear about, if you didn't tune in at the beginning and you want to hear about the steak and shake breaking a fast experience after 3 days, my learning experience, I'll have to go back and listen to the beginning. But going on a fast and breaking a fast in the right way is very, very important. But once you get your body adjusted to it, like I said, it becomes easy. It becomes second nature, and sometimes you just do it. And that way, right, you're going to acquire the discipline. You just say, hey, you know what? I need to go on a fast right now. I need to kick it in high gear. Maybe you're looking for a breakthrough in your life or your business, or just wanting to break an addiction, or just get some mental clarity on a problem or a situation that you're dealing with. That's your way to go. So hey, I appreciate you guys. I can't believe we went a whole hour here on this live. That was crazy. But thanks for tuning in with me on a Sunday morning here. I hope you have an extraordinary week. I've got to get ready to hop on a training and accountability call with my team for our summit. We'll be beginning our interviews with some of our speakers tomorrow. So looking forward to that. So keep your eyes out. Hope you'll tune in to the Path to Power Summit coming December 10th through the 12th, and you'll invite more people. And if you're interested in being a speaker at that event, you can reach out to me, and our team will send you the information there on that. I think we're reaching our deadline here on Monday for taking any more speakers, but if yourself or anybody is interested, shoot me your email and our team will send you over the information. Have a great rest of your Sunday, you guys, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Make it an epic week, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.